Hey, how's it going? Brad Riley here and welcome to another video. And in this one today, oh my God, I have a value-packed video and we're gonna be going through your $0 to $100,000 per year agency action plan for the next 90 days. So honestly, if you've ever watched one of my videos, I highly recommend you watch this one until the end because I'm seriously gonna be giving you some golden nuggets here today. Now, just before we jump into it, if you are new around here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. And an even more exciting news, today is officially launch day for my brand new book, SMMA Accelerator, the Social Media Marketing Blueprint. So if you're interested in learning 170 pages of my best information that I've taught to thousands of my success students, I highly recommend you go and check this out. The link is in the description. The best part is though, if you pay for the shipping, I'll literally give you this book 100% for free. And on top of that, you also get some insane bonuses. You're also gonna get a live $6,000 sales call as a bonus. You're also gonna get an advanced niche cheat sheet. You're also gonna get a 5 pillars of SMMA advanced training. And finally, a specific 30-day written out action plan, which goes hand in hand with this video. So not only do you get this book 100% free, you get the 4 insane bonuses that are worth almost $500 and you just have to pay the shipping and handling, which is less than a couple Starbucks coffees. So look, we have extremely limited amounts of copies. So I recommend you go check out the link in the description, grab yourself a copy because honestly, the value in this is insane. Sorry to go on and rant a little bit at the beginning of this video, but I've put my heart and soul into this over the last 12 to 18 months and it's launch day and I'm super pumped and I really want you to grab yourself a copy. So check out the link in the description. I'll ship it to you anywhere in the world and I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, today I have for you 7 steps for your blueprint to become a 6-figure agency owner. Now, I highly recommend you watch until the end because I've got some insane tips for you today. This is really action-based. So honestly, remove all your distractions, get a pen, get a notepad, and make some notes because I promise you, if you take action on what I tell you today, you have an extremely high chance of finding success. And you know what? Even if you don't hit 6 figures, if you get 5K a month, that's still a massive win. But I really want to get you to 6 figures, and I'm pretty sure with this action plan, we can get you there. So I want you to take notes and follow this video until the end. Because honestly, if you can't dedicate the next 15-20 minutes to watch this video to literally transform your life, then honestly, I don't think you should be watching it all. So remove distractions and let's get into it. So for this 90-day action plan, I've broken it into 2 sections. We have days 0 to 30 and then days 30 to 90. Days 0 to 30 is about systems and testing, and then days 30 to 90 is about scaling and actually acquiring customers and getting yourself to that 6-figure per year mark. So with that in mind, I want to start with step number 1. Now, my first action step for you, if you are serious about scaling your agency, is obviously to go ahead and pick yourself up a copy of my brand new book. Honestly, the information in there, I've taught to my thousands of success students. It's all my best information compiled, and it really will go hand in hand with everything I'm discussing here today. Alongside the bonuses, the written action plan, the live sales call, like all of that stuff's gonna help you so much that I really recommend that you pick that up as step number 1. Now for step number 2, I firstly want to speak to you about systems because in all honesty, if you really want to get from 0 to 6 figures per year, you're gonna need some solid systems in place. Now, I actually recommend that you build those systems beforehand, and then that will allow us from day 60 to 90 to go all in on outreach and focus on scale. So what do I mean by systems? Well, there's several different systems that we can build in your agency, but I've broken them down into a few core areas. Number 1, you need your onboarding system in place. Right, I've got videos on this YouTube channel that break down the onboarding system and how you can implement that. So I recommend you go and check that video out. But seriously, you need some kind of onboarding system because if you get a client and it takes you 2 weeks to onboard them because you don't have a fluent system and you're doing a bunch of back and forth and you're spending hours on the phone to them trying to get them on board to your agency, it's not efficient. So you're gonna need an onboarding system in place, and I want you to get that sorted ASAP. Go and watch my video, implement that today, get it ticked off the list. The second system that I want you to get in place is your communication system. Now, communication systems are simple. You honestly, just the best thing you can do is go to Slack, download Slack, get that in place, and use Slack as your communication hub. When you get clients, when you hire team members, VAs, whatever it may be, you want all of your agency communication to be in that one place. So look, even if you don't have any team members to add yet, if you don't have any clients to add yet, that's fine, but get the system in place. Download Slack, learn how to use it, brand it correctly, And then when you do acquire customers and start building out your team, you can slot them into your Slack channel and you have that all-rounded communication system, because that will save you so much time. So the third system that you need in place is your branding. Again, I do call this a system because when you have a brand in place, you can then leverage that branding across all your different assets and obviously all of your reporting and contracts and templates that you use everywhere. So I highly recommend go to fiverr.com, pay some person $10, $25, $30, get somebody to create you a half decent logo and a brand for your agency. Now, this logo you can then add to your Slack channels, you can add to your contracts, you add to your reports, you add on your onboarding process. And what that's gonna do, that's gonna take you from here to here for the sake of literally paying $10, $20, $30 to get a logo created. Now, it's so simple, but by having that brand in place, you will build more authority for yourself. You'll get taken more seriously. And honestly, you're building a proper business at that point rather than you just being a freelancer in your bedroom. You're positioning yourself as a real agency, a real brand, and that will help you charge higher retainers. So again, the third system, get your brand in place and splatter that across everything that you have within your business, your website, your onboarding, your Slack channels, your reports, everything. So the fourth and final system for part one here is to make sure you start building your team. Now, the best thing about running an online-based agency is that you can find contractors and bring contractors on board without spending any money, because you only pay your contractor when they start work for you, when they actually start work on client accounts. But there is nothing stopping you making posts on Upwork, on LinkedIn Jobs, in Facebook groups, and trying to find social media managers, Facebook advertisers, VAs, and getting these people on board in your Slack channel, ready to go when you land your first, your second, your third client. Because what you don't want to happen, because look, we're talking about scaling to 6 figures here in the next 90 days, okay? So we need to be ready for that scale. Imagine this, if you start doing a bunch of outreach and you close 2 clients next week, but you don't have a team in place, then you're gonna kind of be a bit screwed, because then you're gonna have to be like rushing around like, okay, I need to find somebody now. Whereas if you find somebody now in the first 30 days before we start going crazy on outreach, then guess what? You have them in place, and as soon as you land a client, you can run them through your onboarding, put them in Slack, and then you have them to communicate with the contractors, with your agency team, and you can get things running smoothly from the get-go. Now, I have other videos on the YouTube channel as well that go in depth about how you can hire people for your agency, so I recommend you check those videos out after this one. But again, I also recommend you get that system in place, because at the end of the day, it costs you no money, but it's so valuable. Okay, so that's one of the most important things you can do in the first 30 days is build those systems. I think if you work hard enough, you can get most of those in place within a few days. The only thing that may take a little bit more time is finding the right team members. But again, remember we have 30 days for this first section here for systems and test. Okay, so at number 3, we have testing. Now, in order for us to be having a run rate and be on track to hit 6 figures per year after 90 days, you know, be earning $8.3 thousand every month, which will be the equivalent of $100,000 per year, we need to make sure that our numbers add up so we know specifically how much outreach we need to do. And I've got some goal figures here for you today that I'm gonna run by you, but we need to test in order to get there. Now, when I say test here, what I really mean is we need to test different outreach methods. We need to test different profiles on freelance websites, different outreach messages. We need to test until we hit these specific figures. So at a very minimum, we need to have at least a 10% response rate for this to work. So the goal in the first 30 days is to build the systems and also test outreach, switch up different outreach messages, different outreach approaches, again, different profiles and whatnot, until we found something that gives us at least a guaranteed 10% response rate. So let's say we send 100 outreach messages. We want to be knowing we're getting at least 10% of those respond. Now, the reason this is so important and this is in the test phase is because at the end of the day, the first thing you set up, the first outreach message you might send might convert at 5%. Now, if we just stick with 5%, well, we're probably gonna have to do double the amount of outreach as if we just had a 10% response rate. So it makes sense to test and optimize here in the first 30 days to find something that gives us at least a 10% response. Now, like if you're inside of my Entrepreneur Accelerator Mastermind, we can work directly together on this. You know, you can send me your Upwork profiles, your LinkedIn profiles, your outreach messages. I can give you scripts and templates and whatnot to almost guarantee you get that 10% response rate. But if not, I highly recommend you track all your numbers and keep optimizing, keep making tweaks until you guarantee a 10% response. So the next statistic we want as well is we want to have at least 1 in every 4 responses turn into a meeting, and we want at least 1 in every 4 meetings to turn into a close. And this is why it's so important to track. Use a Google Excel sheet and just track all of these figures, because we need to be at a 10% response response, 1 in 4 response to a meeting, and 1 in 4 meetings to a close. The most important though is the response, because the 1 in 4 responses to a meeting and the 1 in 4 meetings to a close is a lot easier to achieve than that 10% response rate. So if you get that first bit right, these two figures here should add up, and if anything, you could probably do a little bit better than 1 in 4 for both of those. So the next step, step number 3, is to continue to tweak and optimize everything I've just mentioned above. Tweak and optimize the outreach messages, the profiles, the platforms that you're using. Again, even little things like optimizing the sales call, practicing scripts. You're spending time optimizing, honing your skills and optimizing your response rate and your profiles and your outreach. Now, once we've done that, that should take us to the end of our first 30 days. That should take no longer than 30 days. You should be at least at a 10% response rate by the end of the 30 days, and you should have all of the systems mentioned built. So after that, then that takes us into phase number 2, which is days 30 to day 90. And this is where now, because we have everything in place, the numbers add up, and we have our systems and we've tested, we can go all in on outreach. So what this gives us now is gives us about 8 or 9 weeks or so to get to $8.3 thousand every single month, which on average is actually about $1,000 every single week. And on average, I would say the average client is about $1,000. Sometimes it may be a bit less, sometimes it will be a bit more. But if we average out that the average client is $1,000, we need to be landing 1 client every single week. So now that we know that and we know our numbers, we can reverse engineer it. So if we know that we need to land 1 client every single week, but we know 1 in every 4 meetings we have is a close, we know we need 1 client closed, which is 4 meetings. We also know 1 in every 4 responses turns into a meeting. So that means we need at least 16 responses to get the 4 meetings to close the 1 client. And then we also know we get a 10% response rate on average. So to get 16 responses, we need to be doing 160 outreach every single week to land that 1 client. And remember I said this is why it's so important to test and know our numbers so we know specifically how much outreach to do. So if your numbers add up to exactly what we've gone through here today, you should be able to just hit 160 outreach every day on the platforms you use. Now, just a tip here, I really recommend you do warm outreach methods to get the best response rates and to have the highest chance of success. So what is 160 outreach per week? Well, let's say we do outreach 6 days every single week. That gives us about 26 to 27 outreach every single day that we need to consistently hit to hit our goal of 1 client every single week. So now that we know this, step 5 is just to go all in on outreach. Make sure that you consistently, without fail, no excuses, hit that daily outreach target, whatever that may be for you. There is no excuses. Go all in on outreach, remove all other distractions, make some sacrifices, shut that, don't use your Xbox, don't use your phone, just go all in on outreach every single day and hit the minimum daily targets that you need to make this happen. Because if you're really serious about making this work, it's not easy, but it is possible, okay? It is possible, you just need to stay consistent. Now, step number 6 here, very, very simple now, is to just be on top of it with sales. If you wanna make this happen, we've discussed a lot about the response rates, but we also need to make sure that we're following up with prospects who go a little bit quiet. If we have no shows for the meetings, we need to be following up. If you have people who are about to pay and then they've gone quiet, you need to be following up. You need to make sure you're getting commitments on the sales call. Now look, I've got a bunch of videos on this YouTube channel about sales and persuasion and how to close deals for your agency, so go and check them out. And also, if you're in my SMA Accelerator, obviously you do get access to exact meeting scripts as well, so I recommend you just learn those if you're in my mastermind. If not, just watch my free content on YouTube and learn everything you can about sales and make sure that you go all in on it, okay? Your outreach and then your follow-up and your sales and getting commitments, that is what you need to master if you want to make this happen. So that's really, really important that you stay on top of it. And to be honest, that's pretty much where 99% of your focus needs to be in the beginning. Now, the 7th and final action step that I have for you here today in this video is, if you want to speed up this process, I highly recommend you get some type of mentor or guide. Now, as mentioned, my book is coming out today. Inside of that, you have a bunch of training, a bunch of extra resources. The book contains so much more information than I can cover here in one video. You know, with the bonus, you get to see a live sales call of me closing a $6,000 deal, which again is going to help you so much in your sales process. We also have a really in-depth 30-day action plan, which is quite similar to this, but again, more advanced, which you can follow. It includes checklists that you can tick off and all of that good stuff. There's also other advanced trainings and the niche cheat sheet that you get. And honestly, it will just act as your guide. And on top of that, like, you know, a book and everything is great, but also having some type of mentor, have some type of guide, whether that is paid or free, you know, even YouTube content. If you just indulge yourself in my free YouTube content and just watch all of my videos on sales, watch all of my videos on outreach, treat me as your mentor, as your guide. Have somebody there to guide you. So really step 7 is have a mentor, have a guide, and honestly just leverage education, leverage self-education, and make sure you're learning every single day. You know, outreach, sales, following the action plan is most important, but obviously education as well alongside that every single day. Make some sacrifices. Don't play the Xbox for a bit. Stop playing Netflix. Like, you know, at the end of the day, just go all in on your education and your business, and I promise you, your future self will not regret it. You'll be so thankful that you've done it. So there we have it. Just to wrap up one more time, day 0 to 30, you need to build the systems, you need to test, you need to make sure your numbers add up to the numbers we've discussed here today, which is a 10% response, 1 in 4 response to a meeting, and 1 in 4 meetings to a close. Then, providing those numbers add up, you want to hit at least 26 to 27 outreach every single day, or at least a minimum of 6 days per week. You want to be all in on sales and self-education, and if you do that, the next 90 days will be extremely profitable for you. Honestly, there's not much more I can give you in terms of an action plan here to really make this work, so the only thing that's left for you now is to go and do it. Now, I hope you found a bunch of value in this video. If you did and you want more advanced training, go ahead and pick up my book. Like I said, the shipping is going to cost you less than a couple of Starbucks coffees. I'll ship it to you anywhere in the world. You know, I've even got some success stories on the back here. You know, Michael, who's landed over 60 clients. You've got Patu, who's been able to quit his job and travel the world full-time running his agency for the last 2 years, visited 30+ countries. Oscar was able to quit his job with the exact same information that I taught him. I teach in this book. This is all of my best information compiled from my thousands of success stories for my students. Again, it's all inside of here, all of my best information, and you get the bonuses. So look, no strings attached. And look, worst case scenario, let's say I ship you this book, you read it and you're like, you know what? I don't enjoy this book, which I know is not going to happen. And I'm so confident in that if you really don't enjoy it after I've shipped it to you, let me know. You can keep the book and I'll send you the money back for shipping. So there's no risk whatsoever, loads of potential upside, and I promise you it's a good read, and there's so much information in here that it literally just is a no-brainer. So check that out. The link's in the description. We have very limited copies here. At the time of filming this, I actually released this to the early bird list 12 hours ago, and we've already sold out 25% of the copies. So look, if the link is available in the description, it means you can purchase a book. If you can still buy the book, you can click the link, then it means there's some availability. So I highly recommend you go take action now before we sell out. And yeah, I can't wait for you to see all the amazing information. Thanks again so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.